When did you first start looking into the welfare scandal, and how much digging did it take before you realized it could potentially be the biggest story of your career so far?
Right, so the arrest you're referencing happened in February of 2020. And the indictments spanned about $4 million that was stolen from the Mississippi welfare program called TANF, Temporary Assistance for Needy Families. This was a federal program that I had been interested for years before this. Starting in 2017, when I was still at the Clarion Ledger, this statistic came out that less than 2% of people who were applying for cash welfare were actually being approved. The story kind of came by our desk and went, and nothing really happened after that. So, it was my intention to keep asking the question of, like, how in the poorest state in the nation is it possible for, thousands of people to be applying for this assistance every year, and just a small percentage were actually receiving it. Come to find out, we receive about $90 million a year in federal funds for this program that most people think of as the welfare check, right? Cash assistance to poor families. Really only about 5 to 10% of that money every year was actually being spent on assistance to families in need. And so I wanted to know where the rest of the money was going. And I started putting in records requests and pressing the agency, and I was getting these vague answers like, we spend $9 million on fatherhood and two-parent family formation, but they would never explain what that meant, right? Like, where's the money actually going? What kind of services are being provided, and what are the outcomes of those services for families in need in Mississippi for whom, the thing that they typically are lacking is cash. That's the thing that would help them, get by every month. So, just really hitting roadblock after roadblock with the agency. I just started writing stories with headlines like, "Why is the welfare agency being so secretive about how it's spending its money?" And in that time, as I was writing these stories, I don't know if they were really very well read, these kind of wonky stories about this federal program and statistics about families living in poverty. But during that time, an agency employee who I was sort of, pressing and asking these questions to, ended up taking a tip about potential fraud to the governor at the time, who turned it over to the state auditor. And it was a very small tip of about $48,000 that they thought might have been used as a kickback to the director of the agency at the time, which opened this investigation. Threads were pulled, and it really unraveled this massive scandal where, close to $100 million was spent improperly or stolen. So the arrests really, kind of solidified, I was on the right track this whole time. This was really something that I should have been looking into. And then I kind of had the head start at that point in unraveling the rest of it, because I had spent so much time already educating myself on it.